When Walter Tomski was arrested in January 1938, his father Frank was in the workhouse, and his brother Chester was in the reformatory. That month, the Newcastle police made almost 100 arrests for intoxication, 11 for disorderly conduct, 8 for loitering, 6 for being a suspicious character, 12 for fighting, 9 for running a brothel, another 9 for visiting a brothel, 3 for intoxicated driving, 1 for speeding, and 1 for carrying a concealed weapon. And there was Walter, who was charged first with adultery, and then, because of what he did when the adultery was discovered, with assault and battery. The charges were dropped before a trial could be arranged. In 1935, Walter was married to a young woman named Mary, 3 years before his arrest, when Walter was 22 and Mary was 18. They were living in Blacktown, a small township north of Newcastle. Walter had been injured in an accident at Number 5 Mine and couldn't work, so Mary got a job in a nightclub in Grove City. On her first night, the manager tried to rape her. She had to fight him off. She told Walter, but he said she should go back to work. There were no other jobs. The manager tried to rape her again, so she quit anyway. They had no money until Walter was well enough to go back to the mine. Soon after, Mary divorced Walter. 2 years later, Walter married a woman named Dolly in Winchester, Virginia. That was a mistake. They separated almost immediately. A few months after their divorce, at the end of 1941, Walter married a woman from West Virginia, Wanda Cawthorn. He and Wanda had 2 daughters. They lived in Brookville, where Walter did some work in the lumber and building trade. 10 years later, he was running a tavern in town. One night, he drove his motorcycle straight into a truck loaded with 9 tons of wood that appeared over the crest of a hill in front of him when he was overtaking a long line of cars. It was dark, and Walter had no lights on his bike. The 2 men in the truck, both just 19 years old, were killed instantly, but Walter was fine. In February 1958, Walter bought a roadhouse about a mile west of Kane, on the other side of the Allegheny National Forest. It had stood there for as long as anyone could remember. It used to be called the Chatawhile, but it changed its name to the Brown Derby in the early 1930s, after the famous Brown Derby in Hollywood. Walter and Wanda kept the name, but started to remodel and improve the building. They got live bands to play on Friday nights, the Tumbleweeds, the Monitors, Billy Lehman's Rockets. They had special menus 3 days a week, spaghetti and meatballs on Thursdays, a fish fry on Fridays, and fried chicken on Saturdays. They did good business. Walter got sick in the middle of December that year. By Christmas, he was too ill to move. The doctor said he had leukemia and would die soon. He had to spend a lot of time in hospital, and Wanda couldn't keep the Brown Derby open. Spring came and they found someone to run it for them. Walter came home from the hospital in time for the first day of business, a Saturday in May, which meant fried chicken. After closing time that night, it was a fire, caused by faulty electrical work from the Chatawhile days. It destroyed most of the parts that Walter and Wanda had renovated. Walter died the following week. He was 46 years old. Wanda sold the remains of the Brown Derby to Joe Rollick, who owned a sawmill and led a polka band. He reopened it as Joe's Tavern. She got work as a receptionist in Brookville and died in 2007 at the age of 88.